What's going on, everybody? I bought a big card. And, you know, I know people throw around the term rare and scarce and big and grail and I don't know what the right term is. No matter what term I use, somebody's going to roll their eyes at me, which is fine. But I bought a card I've really been wanting. And I think it ties in perfectly with my guy Darren's VR. Now, Darren, first of all, VRs, I've not done a VR. I've not done one. But this is Darren. Darren's my guy, like my off-topic sidekick, like amigo, wingman, like he's my guy. So if he's going to do a VR, I'm going to do it. And then he's giving away a Christy Mathewson T206 white cap. If you participate in his VR, I mean, I was going to do it anyway because it was Darren. But my goodness. Now, why don't I do VRs? That's a whole nother story. The main thing is if I do some people's and not others, then I'm ultimately going to offend people. So I just don't do any of them. So I am non-discriminatory of my offensiveness if I don't do any. So I just don't do VRs. But I kind of have a rule, I guess. If I have an ongoing show that I do with you and you do a VR, I'm in. So I'm in for the VR. Now, before we do the VR, I'm going to show you the card. The card that I bought, again, is what I would consider rare. Some people would call it scarce. Some people would say it's plentiful. I guess it just depends on your perspective. But the card in PSA's database, in PSA's registry, in their pop report, only 22 have ever been graded. This is a card I told everybody before the National. There were a few cards I said, hey, this is a target. One of my main targets for the National was this card. I said on an episode before the National, if anybody sees this card, let me know because I'm interested. Well, I bought it. Let me show you the card. And then I'll talk about how it all unfolded. And then I'll tie it into Darren's VR. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at it. So the big card arrived today. It's the 1888 N19 Allen & Ginter Blackbeard. Now, I mentioned at the National, before the National, that this was one of my big targets. This thing is gorgeous. Look at the color and the image on this card. It is a beautiful two. You can see the color there. And on the back, there's a little bit of paste, a little bit of paper issues, which is very common of cards around the turn of the century because so many of them were pasted into scrapbooks. But when a card is this rare, it is what it is. And when I'm looking at it just like this, it is a phenomenal two, and I'm absolutely overjoyed to have it. I just keep looking at it, and it is... I can't believe I finally actually got one. I've been searching for a while, been talking about it for a while, and the big one from this set, the Blackbeard, has arrived home. I got the Blackbeard. The Blackbeard. My pirate set, my cards, my N19 Allen & Ginter 1888 set has by far a key card. Again, PSA is graded 22 of them. SGC about the same. So there are well less than 50 that have ever been graded. And now one of them is in my collection. It is beautiful. I am absolutely pumped. This is the key card. This is like, when you open a pack of 86 Donruss, you want the Conseco. This is the Conseco. I know, that's so ridiculous. I lost it. I'm just giddy, though. So how did this happen? Well, first off, Ryan Nolan, Breakout Cards, has a really cool vintage non-sport Facebook group. And so I joined it. I mean, Ryan Nolan is like, he's the guy for non-sport stuff as far as I'm concerned. And he's got a Facebook group, and I've not done the Facebook thing, but I'm like, okay, I need to do Facebook. And so I was looking, and somebody else had posted that they were building an N19 Pirates of the Spanish Main Allen and Ginter set. And a couple of people responded and said that they were thinking about us putting some cards up for auction in a few months. And so I messaged them and I said, instead of putting them up for auction, how about you sell me one, especially if you have a Blackbeard? And one of the people said, okay. I mean, it was pretty much that easy. So I just messaged him directly. I said, I'm interested in the card. Would you be willing to sell it? And he said, maybe. Sent me a picture. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. So why did it get the 2? It's got a little bit of paste on the back. It's got a little bit of issues on the back because, that's how people collected cards then, is you'd get the card, you'd paste it in the back of in a scrapbook, and the back would have some damage. And the paste it's like a very granular paste. You've probably seen it on cards before. But if anything, it tells me that the card hasn't really been messed with. And the front of it is fantastic. I'm thrilled. How much did I pay? Paid $450 shipped for a PSA 2 Blackbeard, which I am over the moon about. So the hunt continues for the set, and I've got about half of it done. And I know that some of you think I'm nuts for collecting it. Hey, everyone says collect what you like. Well, guess what? I like pirate cards, I guess. Especially these ones. Now, how does that go with Darren's VR? Well, first off, Darren talked about in his VR, there were 2 things. First thing was share a card you'd really like to pick up over the next 12 months. And my thought was the card I'd most like to pick up, realistically priced. The most realistic card that I most would like to pick up a 52 Mantle or a Honus Wagner, right? But realistically, the most realistic priced card that I would have said a week ago would have been this card. But now that I have it, it changes. Now, so what's another card over the next 12 months? An absolute primary focus for me this year has been to finally put to rest the 3 cards I've wanted since I was a little kid. The 3 vintage cards I've wanted since I was a little kid. The Brooks Robinson rookie card, got it. The Ernie Banks rookie card, got it. And the 48 Bowman Yogi Berra, don't got it. So I would say one of my big goals over the next 12 months would be absolutely, I would like to complete the trio, the 3-headed monster of cards, vintage rookie cards that I've wanted since I was a little kid. So that would be the card that I would go with. Now, the other part of this that Darren asked us to do is to do a shout out of 3 channels with under 300 subscribers. Now, I can tell you this, deciding to put a channel together, it's a daunting task. It's a lot of work, and it's a little bit scary because you're like, I don't know if anybody is going to watch, and I don't know if anybody's going to care. And to be totally honest with you, I didn't know anyone I didn't know anyone in the YouTube space when I started my channel. And it was probably 2 months before I had 100 subscribers. And once I hit 100 subscribers, it felt like a massive accomplishment to me. It was probably more than 2 months, 2.5 months maybe? I don't know. 2.5 months? I'd have to go back and look. But it was a while. And so and I remember thinking the first 100 are going to be the hardest 100. So what I decided to do is make it a little bit even more of a stretch and pick 3 channels that I wanted to shout out that are under 100 subscribers, at least at the time of this recording. So I'm going to shout out those 3. The first one is my buddy Brent, and I'll put his information on the screen here, and then I will also put information down in the description, and I'd encourage you to subscribe to their channels. The thing that these 3 guys have in common is they're all really good people. And to me, if you're going to spend time and energy watching channels, watch channels of really good people. Now, my guy Brent is a really good dude. And you probably remember him. Remember a while back, I got the 1987 Topps Wax Pack, and I opened it up, and it had all Mark McGwire cards, like one of the most thoughtful gifts ever. That was from Brent. He also has sent me a couple of other cool little gifts, including a Topps Now card of the Derek Jeter flip play, and a Topps Now card of Ohtani with his dog, because I had received such a kind gift earlier about one of the only cards that had an owner and his dog on it after I lost my dog. And so, super thoughtful guy, super good dude. Check out his channel. He's already produced a handful of videos, and quite frankly, they're pretty darn good. I wasn't that good on my first 5 videos as Brent has been. Another channel that I'm going to shout out and suggest has 1 video so far, and it is my guy, Pete. Pete, 50/50 Vintage. Pete's a really nice guy. I got to spend a good amount of time with him in Cleveland. Got to see a lot of his collection. He's got some awesome cards, like awesome cards. And in that first video, he showed some of his pickups from Cleveland, and they are worth checking out, let me tell you. So 50/50 Vintage would be the second channel that I'm going to recommend. Again, both of those at the moment at least have under 100 subscribers, so show your support to them. Now, the third one is another really good guy who I met for the first time in person in Cleveland, and that's Jim Faulkner. Jim has been a longtime viewer of a lot of different channels in the community on YouTube, and he's just recently started his channel. And he's been so supportive to all of us that have channels already that I think that we gotta support him. Now, he's got a great collection. He's already got a handful of videos out there, so check him out as well. Great guys, all 3 of them, and I think are definitely worth your time. I personally am subscribed to all 3. Check those guys out, support them in the early days of their channel. So that is the ask of Darren. And when somebody else makes a VR and I don't do it, don't be offended. Again, if I've got an ongoing show with you on my channel, I'll do your VR. If I don't, I won't. And that's not because I'm mean, I don't think. It's just because I don't want to miss some and have people get offended, so I just don't do any of them. That said, first week of school is in the books, and you know what that means? It means 178 more work days until summer vacation.